Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. My name is Ellen. I'm an account manager here at PhantomBuster. Thank you for joining us for this PhantomBuster 101, Get Onboarded with an Account Manager. Hi, Santosh. Thanks for joining. We're going to give it a couple of minutes to allow everyone time to say hello and get comfortable. Hey, Anna. Hey, Tristan. If you want to say hello in the chat, please drop a message. Tell us where you're signing in from. Hey, Marina. So as you can see, I have two team members joining me today. We have Anna and Marina. You know that they're part of the team because they have the team icon next to their name, so you can trust they know what they're talking about if they tell you anything about PhantomBuster and many other things too. Hello from South Africa. Oh, cool. I'm coming to you live from Paris, France. Apologies, a big siren just went by. So if you hear city noise in the background, it's all part of the live webinar experience. Hello from Charleston. Oh, cool. Hi, William. Hello from India. We're covering lots of time zones today. Love to see it. It looks like it's going to be a smaller group today, but that's great. That means if you have any questions, Anna and Marina are happy to help you out. So if you have questions throughout the webinar, please do not hesitate to ask them. You'll see where everyone is saying hello. You've opened the chat tab at the bottom right of your screen. Next to chat, you'll see questions. If you click there, then you can ask a question and either Anna or Marina will be able to answer that question directly there, just to keep things easy and nothing gets lost in the chat. A big question we often receive, this webinar is being recorded, so everyone will be receiving the replay as soon as it's over. If you need to leave early, I will not be offended. Do what you gotta do. You will be receiving the recording, so you can watch this again at your leisure. And we'll give it just another minute. Usually everyone's here within the first couple of minutes, and then I'll go ahead and get started. Looks like logins have tapered off. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for saying hi. Thanks everyone for joining. Again, my name is Ellen. I'm an account manager here at PhantomBuster. Thank you for joining this webinar, PhantomBuster 101, Get Onboarded with an Account Manager. I'll go ahead and share my screen and we can get started. All right. Can everyone see my screen? Give me a shout so I know it's okay to continue. All good? Awesome. Thanks, Marina. Okay, so welcome. As I already mentioned, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please do not hesitate to ask them there in the bottom right-hand corner in the questions tab. Big shout out to my teammates, Anna and Marina, who are here to help me handle those questions throughout the webinar. This is being recorded, so everyone will be receiving the replay at the end of the webinar. And what are we doing today? I will be showing you how to navigate the website, and then we will actually be setting up a Phantom together and chaining two Phantoms together to create an entire automated sequence or automated workflow. And as I already mentioned, you can ask any questions that you may have throughout the webinar. I will try to have you out of here in about 30 minutes, so it's going to be short and sweet. And by the end of this PhantomBuster 101, you should be good to go to make the most out of either your 14-day free trial or your PhantomBuster paid subscription. All right, first things first, this is our landing page, phantombuster.com, a new era of lead generation. Like most websites, you can find everything you need on your account via the navigation bar at the top of the screen. So I wanted to just point out a few things to make sure you know exactly where you're going. Other things to note that you will always have in the upper right-hand corner of your screen is going to be your personal account information. So as you can see here in the screenshot, we have my name. If I were to click there, it would give me a drop-down menu with even more options for my billing, account settings, my user settings, workspace settings, that sort of personal account information. As well as in the bottom right-hand corner of your account, you will always have the customer support button. Our support team works Monday through Friday. They are experts at what they do. They are excellent. They will be happy to help you with any questions you may have about your PhantomBuster usage. So the main event here is found in our Solutions tab from the navigation bar. This is where you will find all of the PhantomBuster catalog or the phantoms and flows that you have available to you via either your 14-day trial or any of the paid subscriptions. So we have over 130 different phantoms and flows that you have at your disposal that you can use to automate any kind of task. What is a phantom? What is a flow? You may be wondering. Well, a phantom is a bot that is able to automate a single kind of action for you on the web. So that might be scraping search results on LinkedIn. It might be the automation of sending connection requests on LinkedIn. It might be scraping Twitter followers or Instagram followers of a given Instagram account. So that's what a phantom is capable of doing. We also have flows, which are multiple phantoms combined into a single flow to carry out an entire automated sequence. So that might start with one action, which then triggers the next action and the next and the next. So that flow is something that you only set up one time, and multiple phantoms working behind the scenes of that flow will carry out the entire sequence of actions for you. So you can find those phantoms and flows, all 130 plus of them, here from the Solutions tab of your navigation bar. You can search for them directly there on the left-hand side via the search bar, or you can look based on the action, extraction, category, that sort of thing. If you already know what you're doing and you found the phantom that you want, that you need, you can go ahead and click use this phantom, use this flow, and it will take you directly to the setup of that phantom so you can get started with your automation. Or most likely, because you are here attending this beginner webinar, in that case, I would always recommend clicking that more button to take you to the overview page. So here's an example of an overview page. Every single phantom and flow has a page like this where it tells you everything you need to know about this particular phantom. So in this case, it's going to tell us the information or the input that we need to give this phantom in order to give us the output or the desired potential output that this phantom or this flow is capable of scraping. If you scroll down, you'll also find more information in terms of tutorials, best practices, that sort of thing. So if you have any questions about what particular phantoms are capable of doing or what you need to do in order to make sure that they give you that data that you want, definitely click that more button to read more about it from here, the overview page. So back to our navigation bar, some other things that I wanted to point out for you all is found on our resources tab. So this is where you'll find everything you need to know in order to make sure that you're being successful with your subscription or with that 14-day free trial. We have several resources available to you. I'm going to show you just the Help Center and the use cases page, but just so you're aware what the other ones are. We have the blog, which is an extensive list of guides that we've put together with various power users and partners, outlining different recommendations that we have for how to make the most of different use cases. We also have the integrations page, which is just that. It lists out all of the integrations in detail with our technical partners, such as Dropcontact, Snovio, etc. We have the Developer Hub, which is a wonderful resource if you yourself are a web developer or if you yourself have computer programming or coding skills. You do not need to have any of those skills in order to be successful with your PhantomBuster subscription. This resource, the Developer Hub, is available to you if you want to be able to code your own script or essentially create your own phantom. But of course, you do not need that in order to, again, make the most out of your PhantomBuster subscription. No worries, I use it very effectively and I have absolutely no idea how to code a phantom. The last two resources that I wanted to highlight for you all are the coaching and the community options. So the community is a Slack community that you will have accessible to you once you become a paying subscriber or a paying user of PhantomBuster. There you can access our Phantom community, which is on Slack, and you can communicate with other power users, with our team members, ourselves, as well as our coaches, which brings me to that final resource that I wanted to highlight for you that you can also find here from the navigation bar. We have PhantomBuster certified coaches that you're able to hire for one session or as many sessions as you would like to help you get started, to help you set up, to manage your account. The coaches are there, again, to make sure that you're doing the most with your PhantomBuster subscription. All right, now just to highlight a few of those resources for you, the ones that you truly, the only ones that you actually need to make sure that you're getting the most out of that subscription. Here is the Help Center. As you can see, we have organized over 70 articles by category, so you can look that way or you can look directly in the search bar. If you have a question that you cannot find the answer to, never hesitate to reach our support team. Not only will they answer your question, you might have also inspired the next Help Center article. So this is a resource that we're constantly updating to make sure that you understand how the phantoms work and understand the best practices, or any kind of account and billing question you may have. Truly, whatever it is that might be semi-relevant, we try to have it explained here in our Help Center. And then the final resource that I wanted to share with you all is the use cases page. So what this is an outline of potential use cases that you can do, that you can accomplish using multiple different phantoms together. So this is actually one of our oldest resource that we created before we had flows. So as I previously explained, one phantom can do one action, whereas a flow is multiple phantoms combined into one. So these are essentially the list of examples that you have in order to combine different phantoms together to understand how to create your own flow. If there's potentially a flow that we have not yet created or that you can't find in our catalog, I recommend that you look here on our use cases page to fully understand the potential of harnessing the power of automation and combining multiple actions, multiple phantoms together to automate an entire sequence. All right, the last thing I wanted to show you in this website tour is the dashboard. So this is going to be your personal workspace. It will look different for every single account. As you can see here, this is a screenshot of my personal dashboard. Now, every PhantomBuster subscription is based off of two things. The first most important factor is the amount of execution time that you have available on a monthly basis, which you can see there in the upper right-hand corner next to my name. And that execution time is going to be used by the phantoms and flows to actually launch and execute their actions. But where you find those phantoms and track what they're doing is going to be here on your dashboard, where you are limited to the number of phantom slots that you have available on your dashboard. So that's the second thing, second major thing that every subscription is based off of, the amount of space or the amount of slots that you have on your dashboard. As you can see in this example, I have 20 slots total. I'm currently using 18 out of those 20 slots. One phantom takes up one slot on your dashboard, whereas a flow can take up anywhere from 2 to 5 slots, depending on what that flow actually is capable of doing. If you find that you are using so many phantoms and you've used all of your slots on your dashboard and you need more space because you want to use another phantom, that's great. You have a couple of options. First one, of course, is to upgrade to a bigger plan. Obviously, the bigger subscription plan, the bigger or the more amount of phantom slots that you have available on your dashboard. Perhaps when you look at your billing page, if you are not perfectly happy with the 3 subscription plans we offer, we do also have the ability to customize your plan. So if you know, maybe you're on the Pro plan right now, which offers 15 slots on your dashboard, and the next plan up is that team plan, and you're not quite ready for 50 slots, that's okay. Maybe you've done the math, you realize you need exactly 25 slots. Well, reach support once again, and we'll be able to actually customize that plan for you. Of course, if you're not ready to upgrade, fair enough, in which case you can delete a phantom from your dashboard to free up a slot. The way to do that is to click those 3 little dots and select delete. Of course, pro tip, as everything in life on computers goes now, always make sure that you are saving and downloading those results files or the collected data of that phantom before you delete it from your dashboard. Once a phantom is deleted from the dashboard, all of its activity and its launch logs and the associated data has also been deleted for the vast majority of our phantoms. So just make sure that you're saving your work as you go before you delete any phantoms to free up a slot. All right. That now concludes the tour of this webinar. Now what I want to do is actually create a phantom together, and I will be taking you through the setup of 2 particular phantoms. We'll go step by step and actually create an entire use case. So let's go ahead and hop over to my dashboard. So as you can see, yes, you can still see my screen. Looks like the chat is active, but love to see it. Marina and Anna are on it. Thank you both so much. So as you can see, top secret stuff. Coming to you live from my personal dashboard, I am currently using 13 out of my 20 slots. I have 3 hours left of execution time. I have named and grouped my slots together to keep myself organized, to understand which phantom is doing what. The way that I do that is, again, just clicking these 3 little dots and using the name function. In order to group them together, all I have to do is literally click that phantom, drag and drop it together, and then you'll be able to, again, name the group, which you can also rename if you decide you don't like this name. Once you have grouped them together, you can toggle them up and down. This might seem silly, but for those of you who end up choosing the team subscription plan, I highly recommend that you name and group your phantoms together to keep yourself organized. Otherwise, you're going to have 50 separate phantoms on your dashboard, and it'll be difficult to know which phantom is doing what, especially if you're using multiple of the same phantoms. It's also going to be important later, you'll see in just a second, when we are creating that automated sequence. It's important to name your phantoms so you know when you're creating or connecting two phantoms together to know which one you're connecting it to. So again, just make sure that you're naming and grouping your phantoms. So let's go again, Solutions tab, Phantoms. Here we are in the Phantom catalog. The use case that I would like to demonstrate for you today is a very simple one, yet very effective, very popular with all of our power users. It's a common lead generation use case where, let's say that I have research that I would like to do on LinkedIn. Maybe I'm a recruiter, or maybe I'm on the marketing team of my company or the sales team, and I'm looking for new prospects. And in order to find the exact person, the exact lead or profile that I'm interested in, if I didn't have a PhantomBuster account, I would have to manually go to LinkedIn. I would have to look at each of their pages. I would have to qualify all of these leads with the extra information on their pages. But using these phantoms, using my PhantomBuster account, I can do all of this almost instantaneously. So we're going to do this using two separate phantoms. The first one we're going to use is the LinkedIn Search Export Phantom. So again, if I click More, it brings me to that Phantom overview page where you can see everything I'm going to need to give this phantom in order to get all of this potential data. If I scroll even more, we've got listed best practices for this phantom, as well as a tutorial video for this particular phantom, which of course you don't need because you're about to get it live. So let's go ahead and click Use this phantom. And here we are in the setup of our phantom. So as we can see, we can name the phantom here. So let's call it, what is today's date? September 18th, 101, because that's what we're doing today. So the first thing that we're always going to have to do with these phantoms, bear with me, this is potentially going to be the most complicated part of the webinar where I explain every single step how this works. But I promise if you understand how to set up one phantom, then you'll understand how to set them all up because they all operate from the same logic. You're always going to have to give the proper format of input data, and you're always going to have to connect it to the network on which you are automating on. So in this case, we're automating on LinkedIn, right? And we're interested in scraping people on LinkedIn. Now, the phantom is only as smart as we tell it to be. So we need to tell the phantom exactly which leads we're interested in scraping. As you can see, there is always going to be fine print or that description, the information within the setup of the phantom that will tell you exactly what you need to do, or in this case, the format that is acceptable for this particular step of the phantom setup. So please, please, please always read that fine print. We've done our best to make sure that all of that is explained there, right there within the setup for you. So as you can see, we have a couple of different options. What I'm going to do actually is go directly to LinkedIn and use all of the search filters available to me there to create the ideal search. So let's say in this example, we're interested in other account managers in Paris. So again, I'm keeping this a very simple example, but most likely you have a much more niche or tailored interest for any particular campaign or use case, in which case I do recommend you use all of these filters to create that ideal search for exactly who you're looking for. Once you've done that, all you need to do is copy and paste this search URL and give it to the phantom. So now that we've done this, in just a few moments, when we actually launch this phantom, what the phantom is going to do is it's going to connect to LinkedIn and scrape the results of this search for account managers in Paris. Now, the following steps, pretty self-explanatory. Again, you can do some of that filtering here. Let's go ahead and click save and next step. So here we go in our Connect to LinkedIn section. This section, or this part of the setup, is extremely important. And as you can see, it's also extremely easy for me. All I have to do is click connect to LinkedIn. And now what I've done is I have connected this Phantom to my LinkedIn account via my session cookie. Now, what does this mean? Essentially, every single network that you have an account on, be it Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, every time you log into that account, a cookie is created that is valid for the session of time that you remain logged into the account. And then when you're logged out, if you're disconnected, that cookie will expire. So the cookie will naturally expire every couple of months. And then you have to re-log in, re-identify yourself, and a new cookie is generated for that account. Now, what the Phantom is doing here is it is connecting to, in this case, LinkedIn on my behalf using my session cookie. Now, I was able to input the session cookie in just a single step because I've already installed my PhantomBuster browser extension. So if you have not done that yet, instead of seeing the Connect to LinkedIn button, you will have a button that invites you to install the browser extension. It's super simple, just a 2-click extension. Now that I've done this, my cookie is automatically there. You do not need to worry just because you've given this Phantom the ability to connect to LinkedIn via your session cookie. That does not give the Phantom any kind of sensitive information about you. It's truly just giving it the cookie, so it is able to, only when it launches, connect as you on your behalf to browse LinkedIn and do whatever it is that we tell this particular Phantom to do. So it's not going to be looking at passwords or anything of that nature. So now that we've connected our Phantom to the session cookie, going to click save and move on to the next step. So as you can see here, we have a couple of things that we need to clarify. We need to tell the Phantom how many results we want it to export per launch versus how many results we want it to export per search URL. So bear with me here, there is a very important difference. So per search URL, we just gave that Phantom a single search URL. Now we know that LinkedIn, there might be 5,000 results of account managers in Paris, but LinkedIn is only ever going to allow us to see and access, and therefore will only ever allow our Phantom to see and access the first 1,000 results of those account managers in Paris. So here, this is asking us, do we want that full 1,000? Do we want less than that? How many do we want? So that's what we would indicate here for number of results to export per search URL. Now, you're probably wondering, look, I want more than 1,000 results. I want closer to the full, say, 5,000 results of account managers in Paris. Well, the workaround, the way to get closer to the actual full amount of, in this case, account managers in Paris, what you can do is, again, go back to LinkedIn, use all of those search filters available to you, and create more than one search URL. Put all of those searches, each one slightly different, using a slightly different, more specified, more niche, more tailored filter to create a slightly different search. Then you put all of those search URLs into a spreadsheet, so either a CSV file or a publicly accessible Google Sheet file, and then you give that list of search URLs to the Phantom in that first step, searches to scrape. And what it will do is, the Phantom is smart enough that it's going to start with that first search URL. It will scrape up to 1,000 results from that first search URL. And then the next search URL, it will go and it will again scrape up to 1,000 results from that next second search URL. And it will continue going down the line to get as close to as possible that full amount of, again, in this case, account managers in Paris. So that's what we're doing here when we tell the Phantom how many results we want it to export per search URL. Now, the number of results to export per launch. Let's say, again, that we gave the Phantom a list of multiple search URLs. And we can see here that the recommendation is we recommend processing a maximum of 1,000 results per day. So if we tell the Phantom that we want it to scrape all of the search URLs to get as many results as possible, what we can do is tell the Phantom to scrape the full 1,000 results per search URL, but maybe we only do 500 per launch. And then in the next step, we're going to tell the Phantom to launch twice per day. Then what it does is, again, the Phantom is smart enough that it will pick up from where it left off. With that first launch, it's going to scrape the first 500 of the 1,000 results in that first search URL. The next launch, it will pick up again from that first search URL, and it will pick up the next 500 results of that search. And then the next launch, it's going to go to the next search URL and pick up the next 500 results. So that's the difference here between results to export per launch versus results to export per search. Now, this is just something that you do have to keep in mind when we're working with the rate limits that we have for automating on LinkedIn, which I think is most of the questions that you're asking in the chat. So I will let Anna and Marina, with their expertise, handle that. Suffice it to say that we have lots of articles about it as well on our Help Center that you can access here. So I want to keep this short and sweet. So I'm going to do very simple. We're only going to export the first 10 results, and we're only going to launch it once. I'm going to launch it in just a second, and I'm going to ask it to scrape just those first 10 results. Let's go ahead and click Save. And final step, the settings section of the setup of this Phantom. Now, I'm going to launch this Phantom for you manually in just a second, but what I would recommend actually for all of your campaigns is to always launch the Phantom repeatedly. If you do repeatedly, you can choose from a dropdown how many times per day or per week, per month, whatever it is you want. Or if you do repeatedly advanced, you can actually be as specific down to the moment of the hour of the day of the week of the month of the year for when you would like this Phantom to launch. Once you've done that, chosen the exact moments you want, if I were to click Save, then the Phantom, I can turn off my computer, and this Phantom, I can go on vacation. This Phantom will continue to launch at those predetermined times for me on my behalf and scrape all of that data for me that I've asked it to scrape. So I always recommend that you use one of the repeatedly functions, because that way you set it up once and the Phantom will continue to launch for you on your behalf and gather all of the data without you having to do anything. Now, again, in this case, I'm about to launch it for you manually because this is a demo. I want you to see exactly how it works. And then in terms of notifications, I'm going to choose no notifications. This is personal preference, up to you. Those notifications will come in the form of an email. All right, let's click Save and go ahead and click Launch. What this Phantom is now doing is it is connecting or authenticating on my behalf on my LinkedIn account. It's going to go to that search URL that I gave it for account managers in Paris, and it's going to scrape those first 10 profiles that it finds. And look, it already did it. So as you can see, I can actually explore all of those leads by clicking here, which will take me to the LinkedIn leads page, which is a full database filled with all of the LinkedIn leads, all of that data. I can also look here under results, and voila, that beautiful preview of all of the information that I want about all of these first 10 account managers in Paris. Now, let's say that I actually want much more information about them, because what this Phantom is giving me is the basic information that you find here on that search result page on LinkedIn. But let's say I'm actually interested in Nicola and Lisa and Elise, like I want to know more about them. In that case, I have to actually visit each of their profiles to learn all about their educational history, their previous work experiences, recommendations, all of that kind of data we can find using the LinkedIn Profile Scraper Phantom. So if I go back to Solutions, Phantoms, the next Phantom I want is the Profile Scraper. So here, LinkedIn Profile Scraper. Excuse me. Again, if we click that More button, it takes us here to the LinkedIn Profile Scraper's overview page, where it tells us exactly what we're going to need to give the Phantom in order to get all of this potential data about each of those LinkedIn profiles, as well as best practices, recommendations, a tutorial video, and the button, Use this Phantom. So as you can see, I was not lying earlier when I said if you understand how to set up one Phantom, you'll understand them all. You can leave the webinar now if you want, but please don't. So first thing we're going to need to do is give the Phantom the input data, or tell the Phantom exactly what it is we would like it to scrape. We have a couple of different options here. We can either choose a list that we would have created on the LinkedIn leads page, which I'm actually going to show you in just a second. We can use a URL, so a list of LinkedIn profiles that you found that you're interested in learning more about, but most likely you found that list of profiles using another Phantom, as we just did. So in that case, I'm going to click My Phantoms, and I'm going to choose from a drop-down menu The dropdown doesn't show when I share my screen, but it is there. So as you can see, I selected the phantom that we named together. So again, very important to name your phantoms. So this is the phantom that we just set up and launched together. Now, once I click save, what I have done is I have forever chained, forever linked and connected these two phantoms together. So let's say that I had actually given that first phantom in the sequence, that search export phantom, much more data to scrape. Let's say I actually asked it to scrape the full 1,000 results and I gave it multiple searches to look through to scrape for. As long as that first phantom has plenty of data to look for, so multiple search URLs, if you set it to launch automatically, it will now always be feeding that data into this next phantom in the sequence now that we have officially chained them together. So as long as that first phantom is always finding data, it's going to be feeding them into this next phantom, the profile scraper, to actually visit each of those profiles and get even more data about all of those profiles. So let's go ahead and click save, move on to the next step. Again, connect to LinkedIn via session cookies, boom. All right, this step is interesting. I'm not going to go into too much detail because this is a bit more advanced, but suffice it to say that every single PhantomBuster subscription also comes with email discovery credits. The way that these work is that one email discovery credit, one email credit equals one attempt at finding a professional, nominative, and verified email address for that given profile. So if email discovery is part of your automation needs, totally possible using this use case, using many of our phantoms within the email discovery service. So what I would do is I would choose PhantomBuster as my email discovery service. If I click save, once I launch this phantom, not only will it scrape each of those profiles, as we've already discussed, it's also going to use one email credit per profile to also using that fancy algorithm to find and return that professional, nominated, and verified email for you. If you have accounts or subscriptions with any of our technical partners, such as Hunter, Drop Contact, Snovio, and yes, those are the options, Hunter, Drop Contact, or Snovio, you can choose that as your email discovery service, input your API key here, and again, once you launch that phantom, it will take those credits that you have available to you in your other subscription, and it will use those email credits just the way that the PhantomBuster one would use them. Now, again, this is a demo. I want to keep it easy, so I will not be using email discovery service here, but just so you're aware, this is a very powerful option for you if you would like to receive those emails in addition to all of the extra data that your phantom is collecting for you. Let's click save. And here in the behavior, again, I'm only going to scrape those first 10 profiles because that's all I downloaded to scrape. But of course, read the fine print in terms of how many you can scrape on a daily basis. Let's click save. I'm going to launch it manually, no notifications, and boom. All right, this phantom is going to take a little bit longer than the previous phantom because it has a little bit more work to do. As opposed to scraping that first page of those 10 results, it's going to actually visit each of those pages to scrape everything that it can find, everything that you yourself would be capable of viewing via your LinkedIn. This phantom can also therefore view, and it's going to be scraping all of that data for you. So as you can see, instead of being done in 2 seconds, it might actually take a couple of minutes as opposed to a couple of seconds, but we've already got 2 out of 10, as you can see here. So while we're waiting, I will show you a previous example just to make sure I'm not taking up too much of your time. So in this previous PhantomBuster 101 example, I did the very similar use case where I chained 2 phantoms together. Again, the search export and the profile scraper. Here in this case, I only scraped 5 profiles. You can see all of them previewed here, and in a beautiful CSV file. I did not do email discovery, otherwise that email would be listed here, but otherwise all of the information that was visible, potential, possible to retrieve, the Phantom did for me and put it here that you can also download here. Or what you can now do using the LinkedIn leads page that's possible for all of our LinkedIn data is all of those leads have also been gathered here under the LinkedIn leads page. We're currently in the process of migrating a lot of the Sales Navigator leads as well. So As of right now, as of the recording of this webinar, it's all of the LinkedIn leads and a couple of our Sales Navigator Phantom leads as well are now being put into this leads database. Of course, this is still under construction in the sense that we will one day have all of the Phantoms data here, but for now it's just LinkedIn and a few of the Sales Navigator ones. If you have any questions about which data is going to the LinkedIn's page for your use case, don't hesitate again to ask our support team. But just to showcase here, as you can see, all of that data has been saved. I can edit these leads directly. I can go visit their profiles. I can put them into lists, either by selecting them or by using filters to create a perfect list. Once I've saved those exact leads as a list, if we go here, here's an example that I did for a previous webinar. I created the exact list. I can now either enrich the list using any of these phantoms, or I can engage with this list, again, using these sorts of phantoms. So voila, that concludes that very simple, but hopefully easy to follow, easy to understand and effective lead generation use case. As you can see, you have many, many other options, over 130 I already mentioned, available in that Phantom catalog. So you probably want to take it a step further. And now that you have all those leads, maybe you want to enrich them with email discovery. Maybe you want to actually connect with them on LinkedIn using such as the Auto Connect Phantom. Maybe you want to send them messages. Maybe you want to engage with their content by liking or commenting on their posts. All of this is possible using different phantoms available to you in your catalog. So with that, it has been exactly 36 minutes. I'll go ahead and close out this webinar. But thank you everyone for coming. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for my team members, Anna and Marina. Looks like the chat was quite active, but all of the questions have been answered. So thank you so much. Don't hesitate to reach out again to support@phantombuster.com if you have any other additional questions. And otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks, everyone. Bye.